Hello and welcome back to the Olympic Oval this Saturday morning for the Oval International competition. This is the men's 1,000 meter. First up will be Cornelius Kirsten and Simon Coutts. They will be followed by Guillaume Labe and Connor Woods. Jeff Ross and Inigo Vidondo will be up third. We have 25 pairs of men racing this 1,000 meter. Stay tuned later on today for the 1,000 meter ladies, as well as the 1,000 meter both men and ladies for the Fall World Cup selections. So there's some great racing coming up. As the whistle blows, and it looks like we are ready to go for our first pair as they line up on the far side of the ice. The 1,000 meter, a 2.5 lap race, the only race in long track speed skating, which starts and finishes in the middle of the straightaway. So this is Kirsten from Great Britain and Coutts from Manitoba. And these two guys are off through the first 50 meters. Charging up to speed in the first corner. And they'll come through 2 laps to go for Kirsten as he leads the way. His opening split, 17:31, 17:86 for Coutts. So Coutts has some ground to make up. Let's see if Kirsten can hold him off. As these guys come through, as they come out of this corner, they will have 1 lap to go. Cornelius Kirsten in the outer lane still has the lead. His lap time, 26:52, 26:87 for Coutts. Cornelius Kirsten's chasing a personal best of 1:12:45 as he will go over the top of his pair on the last backstretch. Coutts trying to hang on, getting a slight draft, but he has to finish on the outer. Always a disadvantage in the 1,000 meter as Kirsten will come out of the last corner with the lead. His final time, 1:11:83. That is a big personal best for Cornelius Kirsten. 1:13:67 for Coutts. So Kirsten breaking the 1:12 barrier with a 1:11:83, and that is the time to beat after our first pair. As we look at another fast pair of guys, this is Guillaume Labe and Connor Woods. Deux tours et demi. Ils sont partis dans le premier virage. Et c'est Woods qui a l'avance sur les premiers 50 mètres. Son temps d'ouverture, 17:24, 17:76 pour Guillaume Labe. So Connor Woods with the faster opener, and it looks like he will go over the top of his pair. Labe trying to hang on, getting a good draft down this backstretch. Let's see if that pays off at the end of the race. But he has some ground to make up as they come around with 1 lap remaining. Woods hanging on to the lead. His split time, 26:19. That's a fast lap for Connor Woods. He is 0.4 of a second up on Cornelius Kirsten with 400 meters to go. But this is where it starts to hurt the legs. And Connor Woods gritting his teeth as he enters the last corner. Labe is gaining ground. This will be an interesting finish as Labe blows past him on the inner lane. Labe with the solid last lap. Son temps final, 1:12:25. Just shy of his personal best, 1:12:99 for Connor Woods. Also just missing his PB. As we move on to our third pair, the time to beat, 1:11:83 from Cornelius Kirsten. Labe and Woods weren't able to do it. Let's see if Ross or Vidondo can. Their personal bests are both in the 1:11 range. Vidondo chasing a 1:11.46. He set that time last year at the Oval finale. 1:11.92 for Jeff Ross. His time was from over a year ago. But he set 2 big personal bests in the 500 meters this weekend. So expect him to get off the line fast and to try and hang on to that speed, as he indeed takes the fastest opener of the day, 1:17.08. Let's see if he can hang on. Vidondo, 1:17.49. That's a quick one as well. So Jeff Ross, he has some issues with his skate. He just can't hang on. Something is wrong. And so he will stand up, not finish the race. It looks like there is a problem with his blade as Vidondo comes through 600 meters in. His lap time, 26:29. He's hanging on just ahead of the pace set by Guillaume Labe, but Labe finished strong. Let's see if Vidondo can do the same. After Jeff Ross standing up due to a mechanical issue with his clap skate, as Vidondo will finish up his final time kicking the line. 1:11.68, and he does take over the lead from Cornelius Kirsten. 1:11.68, just shy of Inigo Vidondo's time. Jeff Ross standing up 1 lap in. A shame. He had great 500-meter times. We'll see. We didn't get to see what he could do in the 1,000. We'll have to save it for another competition as we look at pair 4. And this is a fast one. Mika Pautila in the inner lane. Conrad Naggy in the outer. Strong international race here. These two skaters, no strangers to the World Cup circuit, as Mika Pautila takes the opening split, rocketing ahead 16:42, 1 second ahead of Vidondo's opening time. Conrad Naggy 1:17.24. Now Pautila's fastest time was a 1:07.24. That is a world-class 1,000-meter personal best. He hasn't skated that in a number of years. That time is from 2009. But he's on a fast one here, 25:03, his opening lap time. Naggy, 25:28. As Pautila goes over the top of his pair into the final quarter. Naggy trying to keep up. But Naggy has a strong finish. Let's see how much ground he can gain as Pautila will finish ahead. Final time, 1:08.15. That's a fast time for Mika Pautila. Conrad Naggy, 1:09.36. So Naggy about a half second off his PB. So those two are now at the top of the leaderboard. It's Pautila, Naggy, Vidondo, Kirsten. As we have a look at pair 5. Pair 5, this is Max Halleck in the inner lane. Adrian Hannigan in the outer. So Max Halleck chasing a personal best of 1:13.15. So he'll be looking to go sub 1:13 here this morning. Hannigan, 1:13.89 is his PB, so if he can keep pace with Max Halleck, he's on a good race. As Halleck takes the opening split through 200 meters, 17:43 his opening time, 17:93 for Halleck. So Hannigan setting himself up for a good draft on this backstretch. And it looks like he will hang out there on the outside and cross over just behind his pair. Always a mental boost when you're gaining on your pair on the backstretch. You know then you're on a good race, as Halleck will come through. Trailing Hannigan. Hannigan's lap time, 26:75. So sub 27-second lap time for Hannigan. That's what he needs for that 1:12 he's looking for as he comes into the last corner. 1,000-meter is a sprint distance, but it starts to hurt the legs at the end of the race. You need a little bit of endurance. These guys finish up. Hannigan, final time 1:13.07. He doesn't get the 1:12, but he does get a personal best. Halleck does as well, 1:13.61. So 2 PBs in pair 5. Up next, Caleb Mueller from Alberta in the inner lane and Christian Leipzig from Manitoba in the outer. As they get ready on the line. Off to a clean start through the first 200 meters, trying to get up to speed. It's the outer lane that has the lead. This is Leipzig. Opening split 17.88, 18.55 for Mueller. Crossing over on the backstretch for the first time. They will cross over twice as Leipzig goes over the top of Mueller. So Leipzig on a good race so far. See if you can maintain it in the last 100 meters. 1,000-meter is a bit of a crossover distance. You have pure sprinters who race it. These skaters will start fast and then start to die in the last lap. You also have middle distance skaters who skate it, who stay strong. Can't start quite as fast, but they tend to gain speed or gain ground on their opponents in the last lap. As both skaters looking pretty strong here with 200 meters left. Coming to the line, 1:13.42 for Christian Leipzig. 1:14.56 for Mueller. So Christian Leipzig with a big personal best, breaking the 1:14 barrier by nearly a second. So Leipzig on a good race. As we look at our next pair, this is Tyler Hartleb from Alberta and Gibson Kimbo from Manitoba. Pardon me, from Ontario. Off to a clean start for both skaters. In the 1,000-meter, you have this short half straightaway before you hit a corner. It's unique amongst any other race. It means that in that corner, the skaters have to build a lot of speed. They don't enter it at top speed. Angle their skate blades out a little bit, trying to pick up some speed, as it's a tight race through 200 meters. Hartleb and Kimbo, they cross over in the backstretch. Let's see who has the faster lap. These skaters so far on pace with Max Halleck and Caleb Mueller. Halleck finished with a 1:13.61 as Kimbo starting to carve a lead out in this race, just over Hartleb. So if these skaters can keep pace with Max Halleck's time, they will be looking at personal bests. Let's see if they can do it. Into the final stretch. Gibson Kimbo will finish with a 1:15.24. That's shy of his PB. Tyler Hartleb, 1:68.85. So fast starts. A little bit slower through those laps. More racing coming up this weekend. A chance to make up. As we look at our next pair, this is Rinne from Manitoba in the inner lane. He's racing Thomas Millien from France in the outer. Alors, un bon départ pour les deux patineurs. On va voir qui va partir dans les premiers 200 mètres le plus vite. Rinne with a fast opener. His opening split, 17-6. Very quick opener for John Hrinchuk. Let's see if he can hold on to that pace through the rest of the race. Milin, 18-3. So Milin has to make up some ground. Milin, a specialist in the long distance. So expect him to have a strong finish here. He's already gaining ground in his pair. With 1 lap to go, the bell is ringing. 27-12 for John Hrinchuk. 27-5 for Milin, and Hrinchuk will go over the top of his pair. They're both skaters looking strong. John Hrinchuk not fading as they come into the last 200. Hrinchuk has the advantage of finishing on the inner, and he will carry that right through to the line. John Hrinchuk finishing with a final time of 1:13.70, 1:14.78 for Thomas Milin. With that 1:13, John Hrinchuk setting a big personal best. First time under 1:14. He set that personal best earlier this October, so John Hrinchuk with 2 big PBs in the 1,000 meter this fall. He's on an upward trajectory. Thomas Milin just shy of his personal best. As we look at our 9th pair, this is Matthew Laxton on the inner lane, Frank Roth on the outer. These skaters are well matched. Both of their personal bests are in the high 1:14s. So expect a tight finish. And they are close through 200 meters. Roth with a slight lead. And so with high 1:17s, these skaters are on pace with the likes of Simon Coots and Kristen Leipzig. Coots finished with a 1:13. Leipzig also with a 1:13. So if these guys can maintain this speed through the rest of the race, they'd be on a good one. Roth carving out a big lead with 1 lap to go. His lap time sub 27, 26.99. That's a fast lap for Frank Roth. He's on a good race. Matthew Laxton trying to keep pace, finishing on the inner. But it's all Roth here at the line. His final time, 1:14.42. That's a personal best for Frank Roth. Matthew Laxton, 1:15.07. As we move on to pair 10. This pair features Jonah Bhutsu from Ontario in the inner lane. In the outer from Alberta, Thomas Van Dyck. Van Dyck in the outer lane using a 3-point start. Looks a little bit like a track and field start where the skater puts one hand on the ground in order to pitch their body forward and start from a lower position. Bhutsu through 200 meters. He has the lead, 17.88. Van Dyck, 18.08. Bhutsu with the white armband. That indicates that he started on the inner lane. The 1,000 meter, the skaters start and finish in the same lane. It's the only race in long track speed skating where that is the case. As Thomas Van Dyck starting to make up ground. He's just behind his pair. Both skaters, 27.8 lap times. As Van Dyck will get a bit of a draft on this backstretch, and it looks like he's going to try and blow by into the inner lane. As they come to the finish, it will be tight. Bhutsu will hang on, though. His final time, 1:15.74, 1:15.78 for Bhutsu. As we move on to the next pair, this is Sam Pollock from Alberta in the inner lane. Oliver Lindeskov from Denmark in the outer. Pollock got the better of the two in the 500 meter earlier in this competition. Let's see if Lindeskov has an answer. At the very least, he'll have someone to chase in this 1,000 as Pollock takes an early lead through 200. His opening split, 18-4, 18-8 for Lindeskov. As the skaters cross over in the backstretch, Coach Arno Hugevelt giving them lap times. Speed skating's fairly unique in that the coaches are on the same ice surface as the skaters. They're not required to stand off of the ice. Sam Pollock holding on to his lead, 27-9 his opening lap. Lindeskov 28-4 as Pollock will go over the top of his pair. Pollock is chasing a personal best of 1:15.17. Let's see if Sam Pollock can do it as he comes into the final straightaway. Sam Pollock's last final time, 1:16.01. 1:16.89 for Oliver Lindeskov. So both skaters just shy of their PBs in that race. As we look at the next pair, this is Oliver Scharf in the inner lane and Mark Golden in the outer. White armband in the inner, red armband in the outer. Clean start off the line. We have not seen a false start yet in this 1,000 meters. The skaters doing their part to keep the competition moving. As they rocket out of the first corner. Both skaters looking quick here through 200. Opening splits, 18-3, 18-6. So good split times here for Scharf and Golden. And this is a close race as they come through with one lap to go. The bell rings, 400 meters remaining. Their lap times, 27.84 for Mark Golden, 28.0 for Oliver Scharf. So Golden trying to carve out a lead here. Scharf hanging on, finishing on the inner. Be a tight race at the line. These two skaters pushing each other all the way. Coming to the line, Oliver Scharf will take it, 1:15.60. That is a personal best for Oliver Scharf, 0.2 of a second. 1:15.96 for Mark Golden. Huge personal best for Mark Golden, 1.5 seconds. That is his first time under 1:17, let alone 1:16. So big leap for Mark Golden. Personal best for Oliver Scharf. Both skaters with a great race. So Erik Orlowski and Hunter Hewlett will try to match the previous pair. This is a well-matched pair. Both skaters with low 1:16s as a personal best, 1:16.3, 1:16.4 respectively. So expect them to duke it out over this 1,000 meters. Close opener, 18-0 for Hewlett in the outer lane. Orlowski in the inner lane, 18-2. As they cross over on the backstretch. The goal in the 1,000 meter is to obviously finish as fast as you can. But if the skaters move their legs like they do in the 500, they will run out of energy in the final lap. So the goal is to skate with easy speed. Both skaters doing a good job of that. Still neck and neck, 28-3, 28-5 as we come into the final lap. Orlowski is trying to power through in the inner lane. And it looks like Orlowski, with the strong finish, will take it. Hewlett fading as we come into the final stretch. Orlowski's final time, 1:17.00, 1:18.37 for Hewlett. Often you see skaters in the 1,000 meter swing only one arm for the first lap. As the going gets tough at the end, they'll often drop an arm and swing both, trying to keep the legs moving. Look at two Alberta skaters on the line here. This is Joshua Hathaway in the inner lane and Dawson OBrien in the outer. Identical suits. Good start for both skaters as they're into the first corner. And it's tight through 200 meters. Neck and neck. Opening splits. 18-7 and 18-8. Hathaway on the outer lane, trying to keep pace. And he is gaining ground on Dawson OBrien, getting a bit of a draft on that backstretch. As they now have one lap remaining. This is Dawson OBrien. His opening split, his first lap time, 28-2, 28-6 for Hathaway. So Hathaway will have to stay low and focused here if he wants to catch his pair. Both skaters still moving their feet well into the final corner. But it is OBrien with the lead. And he will cross the line. Final time, 1:16.72, just shy of his PB, 1:17.51 for Hathaway. Also just off the mark. As we move on to pair 15. Pair 15, Paul Coderre in the inner lane from Alberta and Caleb Hovey in the outer from Ontario. Paul Coderre, his personal best, skated only 1 or 2 weeks ago here in October. 1:16.61. So look for him to try and beat that. Caleb Hovey, 1:16.29. That was set last year at the finale competition. Coming through 200 meters, Coderre with the lead. 18-6 his opening split. 18-9 for Hovey. Both skaters chasing the time set by Dawson OBrien. That was a 1:16.72. Dawson OBrien sitting at 22nd right now in the rankings. So keep an eye on the number at the far right-hand side of your screen. Paul Coderre's lap time, 28.67. Caleb Hovey, 29.01. So both skaters off the pace right now of their personal bests. They cross over in the backstretch. Coderre going over the top of his pair into the final corner. As they come out with 50 meters to go, Coderre will cross the line. His final time, 1:16.75. 1:19.04 for Hovey. So Coderre coming close to his personal best on the strength of his last lap. As we look at our next pair, this is Hobbs Holzer from Alberta in the inner lane. Max Brandt from Ontario in the outer. So Holzer chasing a personal best of 119. Max Brandt chasing a 118. So if Holzer is keeping up with Brandt, he's on a good race as they're off. Brandt on the outer lane. Always a slight disadvantage in the 1,000-meter to have to start and finish on the outer lane. It's harder to lean at slower speeds. Opening splits 18-2 for Brandt in the outer lane, 18-9 for Holzer. It's going to be tight on this crossover as Holzer will slip just behind his pair as he holds onto the lead coming in to the corner. The first lap in the 1,000-meter is often the fastest that these skaters will hit in any race. 28:37 split time for Max Brandt. Hobbs Holzer 29:01. So Max Brandt right now, if he can hang on to this speed, is on pace for a big personal best. And he looks like he's finishing strong. Let's see if he can do it. He's chasing a sub 118. Final time 1:16:02. Huge personal best for Max Brandt. 1:19:99 for Hobbs Holzer, just squeaking under 120. So Max Brandt with a 2-second personal best in this 1,000-meter. Big race for him. With a solid last lap for Max Brandt. That was a great race for the young skater. As we look at our next pair, there are 9 pairs to come in this men's 1,000-meter. This is Matthew Scutchings in the inner lane and Noah Bala in the outer. Scutchings looking to break 120. So keep an eye on Matthew Scutchings' times. If Matthew Scutchings is on pace with Hobbs Holzer, he'll be looking at a personal best. Hobbs Holzer finished 31st. Right now, Matthew Scutchings just off the pace. His opening split was 33rd. As Noah Bala off to an early lead with 1 lap to go. His first lap time, 28:51. So Noah Bala, his personal best, a 1:17:98. So he'll be looking to beat that here. And Scutchings, lap time 29:99. As Bala coming around the final corner, he's got a big lead on Scutchings into the final stretch. His final time, 1:17:75. That's a personal best for Noah Bala by 0.2 of a second. Great race for Noah Bala. 1:21:63 for Scutchings. Up next, we have a junior versus a master in the inner lane. Brad Hudy from Saskatchewan. Zachary Lacroix, youngster from Alberta. Two and a half laps, 1,000 meters to come. Here we go, off the line. Both skaters trying to pick up speed. Zach Lacroix skated a 1:20:86 this September. So as a young skater, every race is a great opportunity for improvement as Zach Lacroix opens with a 18:6. If he can maintain this pace he is setting himself up for a big personal best. The challenge, though, is to hang on in the last 2 laps. As Zach Lacroix holding the lead over Brad Hudy with 1 lap to go. his 400-meter time. 28.81, 29.32 for Hudie. So Zach Lacroix currently on pace for a personal best. If he can hang on. He has to finish on the outer, though. Here comes Hudie on the inner. Hudie gaining ground. So Brad Hudie is chasing a season best of 122. See if he can hang on as Zach Lacroix finishes with a 1:18.50. Huge time for Zach Lacroix, 2-second personal best. First time under 120, 1:19.56 for Brad Hudie. That is a season best for him, so good times there for both skaters. As we now look at our 19th pair. In the inner lane from Alberta, it's Zain Syed Ahmed. In the outer lane from Manitoba, AJ Seddon. So these two skaters will be looking to keep pace with the previous pair of Lacroix and Hudie. Let's see if they can. Through 200 meters. It's Zain with the slight lead. 19.4 his opening split, 19.6 for AJ Seddon. So right now, these skaters just behind the pace set by Matthew Scutchings. Scutchings finished with a 1:21. If Ahmed and Seddon can keep up, they would be on pace for a personal best. With one lap to go, it is Seddon with a slight lead, 29.86. His opening lap time, 30.38 for Ahmed. So these two skaters right now on pace for a personal best. The challenge, though, is the last lap when the legs start to burn. Lactic acid builds up as Zain Ahmed making a last-second comeback at the end of this race. His final time, 1:29.49. AJ Seddon, 1:21.63. Big personal best for both skaters. AJ Seddon coming in had a personal best of 1:24, so 3 seconds off his best time as we look at the leaderboard. Mika Pautila setting the time to beat, 1:08.15. So we're seeing some personal bests here at the Olympic Oval. This is Ian Dwyer in the inner lane, Bob Irvine in the outer. Two master skaters. Ian Dwyer's personal best, a 1:23.01. Bob Irvine's season best, 1:25. So both skaters looking to improve. Ian Dwyer with a fast opener, 19.6, under 20 seconds. Bob Irvine, 21. So through 200 meters, Ian Dwyer carving out a slight lead. Irvine trying to keep pace as they cross over on the backstretch. They'll come around. The bell rings with one lap to go. Dwyer hanging on to a lead. Irvine's going to try and gain ground on this last lap. Opening lap, 30.96. Bob Irvine, 31.4. As Irvine will cross over just behind Ian Dwyer. So Ian Dwyer going over the top of his pair. These two skaters duking it out with 200 meters to go into the final stretch. Ian Dwyer will finish up with a final time of 1:23.26, just shy of his PB. Great race for Ian Dwyer. Bob Irvine, 1:25.61, just missing his season best. So coming up in the next pair, We have two young skaters in the inner lane from BC, Isaiah Jesse Uribe. In the outer lane from Alberta, Caden Witkowski. Off to a clean start. So Isaiah Jesse Uribe chasing a 1:24.35. That is his time to beat. His personal best he set last year in March. Witkowski trying to keep pace as Isaiah Jesse Uribe carving out an early lead. 20.1 was his opening split, 20.7 for Witkowski. Crossover on the backstretch. As they come around the corner, the bell will ring. They will have one lap to go. Caden Witkowski chasing a personal best of 1:26.50. So if he is keeping up with Jesse Uribe, means he's on a good race. As Witkowski will come out and cross over in front of Uribe with 50 meters to go. Should be an interesting finish here. Looks like Witkowski is gaining ground. As they come into the final stretch, Jesse Uribe hanging on to his lead. His final time as he kicks the line, 1:27.24, 1:27.67 for Caden Witkowski. Coming up in the next pair, Robert Black in the inner lane, Donnie Rinne in the outer lane. So two Masters skaters up next. Robert Black from Australia, Rinne from Alberta. Both wearing their national Masters suits. No strangers to the World Masters competition. Every year, these skaters travel around the world to compete at the World Masters Championships. As they start and they are into the first corner. As Robert Black with an early lead. His opening split, 20.9. Rinne, 22.68. So Robert Black, he's chasing the time set by Caden Witkowski. He's only 1/100th shot or 1/10th shy over the first 200 meters. See if he can keep pace. As he enters the corner, one lap remaining for Robert Black and Donnie Rinne. Black's first lap time, 32.33, 34.63 for Rinne. As Robert Black now taking over from Caden Witkowski. He has gained 2/10 over the first 600 meters. Let's see if he can hang on in the last 200. Rinne trying to keep pace as Robert Black will finish up this 1,000-meter race with a final time of 1:27.41. That puts him just ahead of Caden Witkowski. Donnie Rinne, 1:33.34. As we move on to our 23rd pair, we have 3 pairs to go here in the men's Oval International 1,000 meter. This is the last group of races for the Oval International here this morning. Coming up after lunch at 1 o'clock, we have the Fall World Cup selections where the best Canadian skaters will duke it out for a chance to represent Canada at the Fall World Cups on the international stage. That will be the ladies' second 500 meters and the men's second 500 meters. Chance to watch the likes of Will Dutton and Laurent Zebrey or Marcia Hudy race, as we look at Rob Cunningham and Tim Bushell racing here. Rob Cunningham off to a blistering start. His opening split, 19:41. Tim Bushell, 22:31. So great opening times for both skaters. Rob Cunningham on pace with Matthew Scutchings right now, just ahead of Zain Ahmed. As they come around with 1 lap remaining. Bell lap for Rob Cunningham. Rob Cunningham chasing a personal best of 1:23.23. As Cunningham through 600 meters is sitting just behind Zain Ahmed. Zain Ahmed, who finished up with a fast time. Let's see if Rob Cunningham can match it. So Cunningham comes to the line. His final time, 1:25.98. And Tim Bushell will finish behind him. His final time, 1:30.83. Two pairs to go. This is pair 24, Joshua Cowell from Alberta. He's racing a provincial teammate, Dino Elaz. So 2 young skaters here racing in the 1,000 meter. We've seen some PBs from young skaters earlier in the pairs. Let's see if Cowell and Elaz can do the same. Joshua Cowell, his personal best is a 1:29.06. So keep an eye on Cowell in the inner lane with a white armband. Chasing a 1:29. He'll be looking to go faster than that. Dino Elaz, his personal best, a 1:27.93. So he'll be looking for a personal best as well, as they are through 200 meters onto the backstretch now. Cowell had the slight lead. If he can keep pace with Elaz, he's on pace for a personal best. As these skaters come around. They're through 200 meters. They were on pace with Caden Witkowski. This race is tightening up as Dino Elaz is starting to gain ground on Joshua Cowell. He's going to try and beat him on this last lap as they cross over on the backstretch. 200 meters to go. As Cowell and Elaz are into the final corner now. So again, they're looking for a 120, a sub 129 or a sub 127. Cowell will finish with a 127.13. That is a big personal best for Joshua Cowell, 2 seconds off his previous best time. As we move on to our final pair, this is Ryan Grabarczyk from Saskatchewan, racing on his own in the inner lane. So Ryan Grabarczyk has the misfortune of racing these 2.5 laps solo. This can be an advantage at times if skaters sometimes tend to be distracted by their pair. It can be a disadvantage though, because a pair is someone you can chase, give some added motivation, as Ryan Grabarczyk is off the line now. His personal best is a 1:31.25. So he will be looking to break the 1:30 barrier. His opening 200-meter split, 20.63. That's certainly fast enough. Let's see if the legs can carry him through the next 800. As he comes around, he will have 1 lap to go exiting this corner. And it looks like he forgot to change lanes. He's shaking his head. So he will finish up with a fast time, but the clock will not register as he is in the wrong lane, skating too short a track. Ryan Grabarczyk making a small mistake, skating the entire 1,000-meter in the inner lane. So Ryan Grabarczyk will be disqualified. He finishes with a 1:25.90, although he skated nearly 200 meters shorter track because he skated in the inner lane the entire time. So that will, in the end, be recorded on the final scoreboard as a DQ, disqualification, for not changing lanes. I'm sure he will not make that mistake again. As we look at our leaderboard as we wrap up the 1,000 meters, Mika Pautala had the fastest time of the morning, with a 1:08.15. Conrad Naggy from Hungary was second, 1:09.36, and wrapping up the top 3 was Inigo Vidondo from Spain with a 1:11.67. Lots of personal bests in this 1,000-meter men's Oval International. Stay tuned for more great action. We will be back at you at 1 o'clock Mountain Time with the men's and ladies 500 meter for the World Cup selections. Chance to watch some of the fastest skaters in Canada, let alone the world, race over 1 1/4 laps. And stay tuned throughout the rest of the afternoon for more 1,000 meter action.